Hi guys, my name is Lene and this is Terri.
Hi.
Terri was my one. If you've been through Mission Living, you understand what that means. But Terri came to work for me probably 4 years ago. She came in as my parent in the special education department, and my husband and I were going through Mission Living at the time. And as you know, you have to identify your one. Well, Terri was my one. So we shared a classroom, and I would go in and it'd be like, "So Terri, you want to come to church with me this Sunday?" And Terri was not having church.
I would say no.
She would say no. She would tell me that, God didn't want her at church, that he wasn't ready for her to come into the church, and you kind of raised some eyebrows, like, what have you done in your past life? Like, who am I working with? Terri finally decided to come to church, and she started coming and sitting with a mutual friend of ours, Ashton, and we would encourage her to get plugged into a small group because that's really where it's at. And so Terri got plugged into a small group and was kind of slowly moving along in the church. And then about 2 months ago, she texted me and was like, "When are you coming back to church?" Because I just had a baby and I've been at home. And I'm like, I don't know why. She's like, "'Cause I want to be baptized." And so Terri made the decision to be baptized. And here we are, full circle with Mission Living and the quest to find our one.
I didn't want to come to church because I was a little angry because I dealt with stuff in the past with my mom, and I think I had just lost my mom when I moved in with Lene in the classroom. So I was just angry, and I didn't understand why this was going on because 10 years prior, I think she went through the same thing with her stroke, and I was like, "God, why do you keep doing this to me? You're putting my family through so much." And I was just like, "No, that's not for me. You want me to get up on a Sunday and go to church?" So I was just like, "No." And I'm then one of my students actually was like, "I'm getting baptized." And it was like, "So what church do you go to?" "Same church as Lene." And I was like, I don't know if I can do it. And I told the mom, I was like, "I don't know if I'm going to do it. I just don't want to do it." And she was like, "Just come." And I was like, "Lene's been asking me, I need to come." And I even remember Lene texted me, "Are you going to come today?" And I was like, "I'll watch online." But I didn't watch online. But I was just so nervous. I was like, I don't know anything. I don't understand anything. I don't know what they're going to be talking about. I'm just not comfortable. And so I came, and I was like, whoa, it's not that bad. And then I think I came that Sunday, and I never left. I just felt at home. And I grew up. I grew up in church. My grandpa was a pastor, and I was just, my parents would force us to go every Sunday and do this thing. But I was like, I don't have my own relationship with God. So I almost felt like it was always forced on me, and I was never able to make a connection with God, my own connection. So I started coming, and I was like, wow, I understand. And it's so relatable here at Christ Church. Everything that you talk about, you can relate to it. It's not I'm not going to understand it. Anybody can walk in and they're going to understand what's going on. So it was just very welcoming. Everybody was nice. Everybody said good morning, waved. There were people outside, "Nice seeing you." I saw the man outside of Publix one day. He was like, "It was good seeing you this morning." And I didn't know who he was. And I was like, wait a minute, he goes to Christ Church. And this just became a family to me, honestly. And I don't know. I'm so thankful for Christ Church, honestly. I'm so glad that I decided to start coming, and I took Lene's invitation, even though it took one of my students inviting me to their own baptism, and then I ended up getting baptized too, which was a hard decision for me too. I just knew that I was tired of this, quote, of being a lukewarm Christian. I'm what held me back? And I knew that was my next step. And I'm just really glad Lene invited me over and over and over again. And I made the steps to come to Christ Church because I couldn't imagine what my life would be like without creating my own relationship with God and coming to Christ Church. So I hope I can touch somebody like Lene has touched me and invite somebody to come sit with me.